Hello once again, watchers of good anime. My name is Nick Pell and this is my review of KonoSuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World, Legend of Crimson. Now, KonoSuba is a show which is one of my favorites. It's in my top 5 of all time of all the anime that I've seen in the last year and a half or so. I think it's hilarious. I've watched it through its 2 seasons multiple times. I watched the whole of the dub. I think it's great. And this film is a continuation of those 2 shows. It takes place after the events of the 2nd season, and I think knowing and having seen those 2 seasons helps dramatically with understanding who people are, what's going on, because it doesn't really take a lot of time to explain that type of stuff. It gives you a very, very short introduction and summary of who our main group is, and that's about it. It doesn't really do a whole lot of backstory. Now, the main setup for this film is that the Crimson Village, which Megumin and Yunyun are both from, is under attack by the Demon Lord's army, and they have to end up going back there to try to stop the invasion, and shenanigans ensue as you would more or less expect. The animation, as you would expect, looks really, really good. It kind of falls into the same category as most of these anime films which are based on previous shows like Sound Euphonium, Saga of Tiny the Evil, Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. It's all kind of elevated to the big screen level, and I really enjoyed seeing that aspect for the show, which I've only seen on my TV. The group dynamic is once again really, really well done. I do think that Megumin stands out amongst them because it does kind of feel like Aqua and Darkness are kind of left to the side. They don't really have a lot to do until the end, which is fine because this is Megumin's movie essentially. It shows her backstory, where she's coming from, and we get to see a lot of character development and growth from her, just learning who her parents are, where she's come from, and just more about her past that we just didn't know before. You also get to see Kazuma and Megumin grow closer as a duo over the course of the film, which was also kind of fun to see. They have their own antics and shenanigans, but you do see that there is kind of a bond developing between them, at least more so than there was necessarily in the show. I also found it really fun to see the Crimson Demons and the Crimson Village itself, just seeing kind of how similar Megumin actually is to those people, which makes sense because that's where she came from, and just getting to see their origins as well, because you do find out kind of how the whole village and the people were established, and it's in a very KonoSuba way. I won't go into it here, but it's very, very funny and just kind of what you would expect for something of this show to do. Probably one of my biggest issues with the film, though, is that it does have some kind of awkward and uncomfortable scenes and moments just thrown in that I'm not really going to touch on here, but there were a few times in situations mainly involving Kazuma which it just kind of felt uncomfortable just by today's standards, and it kind of flows into the main villain of the film, who I didn't really have a whole lot of interest in, and she didn't really seem that threatening overall. She just kind of seems like a stand-in demon Lord General, essentially, and a lot of the uncomfortableness kind of came from her character as well. The film can also kind of feel long. This is kind of an issue which happens with a lot of these types of films which are based on previous or established shows, in that we're so used to the quick 20-some minute batches of episodes that seeing just a whole storyline spread out over the course of an hour and a half can make it seem a little bit stretched out, a little bit long as a result, just because it's trying to make up for that. So I don't know. It did feel a little bit long in the middle, just as it was continuing to flesh out Megumin's backstory, which again was interesting to see happen, but it did just kind of start to feel a little bit long after a point. The ending, though, the last 20 minutes or so, where it gets to kind of the big climax of the show or of the movie, it does get really cool. It does kind of do one of the standard traditional KonoSuba big ending fight scenes, which it doesn't have a musical score or an actual vocalized performance underneath it, which is kind of disappointing, but it does have a really cool battle and a really cool finale. And then the most important thing about the movie, it's funny. I really thought it was funny. I laughed a lot throughout the course of the film, and it just has a lot of the standard jokes and just a lot of things which made me love the show when I watched it initially, and I really hope that it gets a 3rd season if this film does well enough. Hopefully. But yeah, overall guys, KonoSuba, Legend of Crimson, it's pretty good. It's not the most amazing anime film that I've seen this year, but I did enjoy it. I thought that it stayed true to the anime's original feel and purpose. And while it did have some uncomfortable scenes throughout it, not the most enjoyable villain, and can feel a little bit long, I did like the animation. It developed Megumin's backstory as well as gave us a little more insight into the Crimson Demons themselves. And it was just really funny. So those are my thoughts on KonoSuba, Legend of Crimson. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Did you like it as much as I did? Did you hate it more than I did? Let me know. Who was your favorite character in KonoSuba? I'd be very curious to see your thoughts on that. Megumin, I think, is my favorite because I think she's awesome. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe once again if you so choose. I appreciate it immensely. And as always, my name is Nick Pell. And once again, keep on watching.